Hey guys, JH, welcome to practice tee. This is the Antarctic practice tee. It's so cold. The wind is ripping through and it's just awful in terms of the weather. But the JH practice tee will continue on. I'll make sure that I get the ball. Just check that, guys. Just make sure I get the ball in frame. The other day it wasn't quite in frame. Yeah, that looks okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to divert a little bit today, moving away from, as the JH practice tee, as I said before, guys, is going to incorporate all sorts of stuff again that we do in the golf swing, or types of golf swings, or processes, or development, or whatever, which was the original theme of the JH practice tee. Okay, the channel lock is here, and we've got channel lock Frankenstein at the moment. A few things going on, but yeah, I still give a lot of information, teach a lot of people with conventional stuff. So guys, something that I had the pleasure of seeing in person and in the flesh, what I think is the best conventional golf swing ball striker I've ever seen. And that was, like Trevino was unbelievable, but Mac O'Grady. Now Mac O'Grady was a total head case, as we know, but as a ball flighter, and the way that he hit the golf ball and the way it went was just something to behold, guys. I mean, you just, until you had to be there and hear it and see it, you never appreciate it. He never did any good on the tour. He won a couple of tournaments, but, because he was just, I think he was just more enamoured with the golf swing than actually playing the game. And he knew an awful lot about the golf swing. And his golf swing, left or right-handed, was as good both ways. Technically perfect. Now, what Mac did in his golf swing was that he was very much a connection person, in that he got his speed, he said, from body rotation, the speed of the body rotation. If you could see him demonstrate, he would have 6 balls there, and he would start off with, with a 6-iron or a 7-iron or something, and he would just hit the first ball, and he'd hit it, 140 yards or something. And then he would just up the body speed rotation and would go 170 yards. Then it would go 190 yards. Then it would go 200 yards. And the only thing that was changing was the speed of his rotation of his body. Nothing else was changing. Nothing. Basically, he would just get here, come in here, and guys, it was just, really was that. Was the speed of the pivot, called it pivot speed and pivot power. And that's what it was. You could see that in his golf swing. Now his hands were also very, very close to his body through the ball. And he was very much on secondary tilt. You had to have the secondary tilt through the ball in order to make good contact. And he also had another, not idiosyncrasy, but he had a factor in his golf swing that Hogan had. And if you saw Mac on the downswing, he had the same sort of lag that Hogan had. Hogan had about 120 degrees on the shaft, about here. O'Grady had 130 here. And Mac said he got that because of this, through the cupping of the left wrist. And he said at address, you used to have your wrist cocked 45 degrees. You couldn't have it like that. He hated the flat left wrist. Absolutely hated it. He said, it's got to be here. And that's how he took it. And he said on the downswing, that's how you get that lag, and that really hard down lag in the downswing. Now, I saw him hit it, guys, and he was stunning. The way that he could just ramp up the speed of the shot and the distance just by increasing the pivot speed here. And he felt, and the hands were always, Mac's swing always looked like this, like the hands, and that's how he said he liked the feel. He didn't ever wanted that type of golf swing. He wanted that type of golf swing, like a slash effect. So guys, for people that have trouble, firing the club this way, try just connecting everything up, take it back here, and just turn your belly button as fast as you can. Just as fast as you can. Now I haven't hit any shots, I'm dead cold, and I mean cold. But watch this. What have we got here? 6 iron here. Watch this, guys. 45 degrees here. That's first shot of the day, and that's Hammer City. Hammer City, guys. Okay, a little tight, short backswing, because I'm been in the gym this morning and I'm tight. But guys, that was just, I'll try and, guys, I'm over in the paddock again today and the conditions are terrible, the ground's awful. I'm down in the ditch, but I have to be here for the sun. So watch this, guys. Now that one that's dead into the wind there, it's ripping in here, and that 6 iron went about 100, it's 30 mile an hour wind. That 6 iron went about 145 metres. But I'm going to ramp this up and I'll probably hit this 155. It's a 30 yard wind, guys. So here we are, we've got the 45 degrees here. Going to be, all I'm going to do is just up the pivot speed. Guys, that's on exactly the same line as the other ball, but it's gone about 10 or 12 yards further. Now Mac could upgrade. Mac's normal driver swing was about 120 miles an hour, but he could ramp it up to 135. I saw him do it. Just unbelievable. Could carry it 350 yards. But he never wanted to do that all the time. He could if he needed to. But just extraordinary, and it was just this. And when he was hitting little wedge shots, hitting them, starting out at 100 and then going up to 150, it was just amazing. And it was just the speed of the pivot. Everything else looked the same. But he always had this side bend here. And finished here. He just looked like that, guys, all the time. And of course, he made a nice big backswing because he was the fittest guy, the best body you've ever seen. Looked like Sugar Ray Leonard. You've never seen a body like it, and the power of the guy, but the suppleness of him, just amazing. But Olympic gymnast type body, just amazing physique. So here we are, guys. We've got this 40. Now I'm normally square, and I shut down this way, but Mac didn't. Mac was here. And he said Hogan did it. And of course Hogan did do it. And of course Mac just set up a little bit of bend in the knees, connection. Oh, guys, that is so hard, so flat, that flight into that wind. And you don't feel any hands as such, hands per se, you don't feel those. You feel the power being transmitted from the core down into your hands. Now I'm very strong in the core for my age, so I do a lot of core work. So this should be a good swing for me. And it should be a good swing for anybody that's too handsy. And he was very, very big, guys, on seeing the ball with both eyes. He called it foveal vision. He said if you have one eye this way, you take the club back in a different direction. If you had it out of this eye, the club would always go back in a different direction. But if you kept your head absolutely dead still and parallel to the line of flight and looked at the ball with both eyes, you would take the club back squarely all the time. Foveal vision, I think he called it. And he just set up with the hands in the middle of the body. Here. Guys, you've got to see that ball flight. Okay. You'll say, James, what are you doing to us? Driving us nuts. Well, I do drive people nuts, but that's part and parcel of the genetic practice tee. It's a development tee, guys. A lot goes on here. And you only see the half of it. A lot of the stuff doesn't get off the cutting floor, so to speak. But that ball flight's unbelievable. And these are difficult conditions, and I'm dead cold. And you know why that ball flight's good? Because nothing is going on. I'm not trying to do anything with my hands. I'm just connecting up, taking back 45 degrees here, and then just turning the body. Now I'll really try and ramp up the speed of the body here. Oh. I don't know what the sun's a bit high to get anything down range. But that's just, it's a hurricane. No, it's about 30 kilometres an hour, dead into us. Okay. Guys, that's just boring holes in the wind. That's a hole boring ball flight. And what do I feel? I feel this. I feel like my tummy has got, or my belly button has got a bungee cord to here, and the more I move my tummy, the speed of it, the more it pulls on that club and accelerates the club. Okay, we know that the body can't rotate that fast, but you can exert a lot of energy through a faster rotating body than normal. I mean, the fastest anyone will rotate their body is about 6 miles an hour. Fastest anyone will rotate. Maybe Mac got to 7, but the transmission of the power with just an incremental half mile an hour or something like that, the difference is enormous. We know the speed comes from the angles and the storage in the angles and the throwing away of the angles. That's where the speed comes from. We know that. But if you can just ramp up just the release of that body a little bit, see that? Look at this guy, look. And have a look at Mac Ogrady. And just look at it with both eyes. Put that foot out a little bit, here. Just don't move. All right, now, I'll just try and take it back a bit further. I don't take the club back very far. Mac took it back normal, like the club was back here with Mac. Very strong their wind, guys. I'm going to blow the camera up. I have to take off in a hurry before the camera gets blown up. But watch this, guy. Look. Just going to turn that tummy. Oh. Of course, what you'll see there, guys, is nice clearance. Nice clearance. Now, I normally don't drive off my trail side at all, as you know. I'm someone that just fires my arms. I don't drive off that trail side very much at all. Okay, I'll really ramp up the speed of the body. And I'll look at it, both eyes. You don't want to hear this. You don't want to hear this. You don't want to hear it. I've never hit the ball like that. Well, I did when I was over there, when I saw Mac. The next day I hit it like that. But there are a couple of things that I didn't know back then that I know now about his golf swing, which I'm employing here. Now, one of the guys that used to play the tour over there, and as a broadcaster, a guy called Gary McCord. Now, Gary used to have this type of golf swing. And it was awful. You want to see it now. Looks like Mac Ogrady. And he did that to Gary in a week. Gary was there when I saw Mac. I couldn't believe it. And of course, Gary is a very, very big fan of Max. Max is supreme intellect when it comes to the golf swing. He'll drive you mad with details. There's no such thing as a 5-minute answer for Max. Always 2 hours plus. But wonderful, wonderful ball striker. Okay, guys. Turn that tummy. It's the same ball flight. It's exactly the same ball flight. Every shot is the same ball flight. Now, the extraordinary thing with Mac, on the golf course, he used to hit the ball everywhere. Because he was always trying things when he was playing golf. He would want it, but he would try something. He just hit it off the planet sometimes. He won 2 tournaments, but we should have won 20. Watch this guy. Just turn that tummy, Jage. Now, guys, that wind is 30, 40 kilometres an hour. Those balls up there, 6-iron, they're honestly, cross my heart, they're in a 20-foot circle. Now, some of them are a bit longer than the other because I've got different rates of speed in my turning, but they're all exactly the same direction and the same ball flight. I mean, identical. Or I'll really rip this one with my body and see if I can hit this way up there. Well, you know what's interesting? That impresses me. I'm impressing myself with that ball flight. That's just extraordinary. It's exquisite, exquisite ball flight. Now you'll say, okay, JH, you've been infected by Mac Ogrady because you're nuts as well. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I would have to say to myself, why would you do any other golf swing but that? Because you can't hit it that good, JH. You can never hit it better than that. Oh, talk about nuts. Mac and I, they call us the nut twins. I'd get on really good with Mac. Watch this, guys. At 45 degrees there. They're just the same shot. I'll really get the midriff going. They're just in a, like I said, just in a cluster. They're just some are a little bit longer than the others. Guys, the simplicity of this is, you just move this quicker. Keep all this connected, keep that 45 degree, and just move the belly button. You can't mistime it because your hands don't get into the show. They don't do anything. The body does it all. Well, the tummy does it all. Come on, Jade, a bit bigger backswing. Now, I'm only doing this today because I saw some stuff the other night of Mac, or a couple of nights ago, and it just reinvigorated my admiration for the guy. Okay, come on, Jade. Nice, Mac's smooth backswing. It's just crazy stuff. Well, JH is nutty, you know that. And that's what gets me out here, guys. The sanity of golf I could never live with. The normality of golf, that's not me. I've got to go out in right field, left field, and I love that. Okay, watch this. Come on, Look where I'm finished here, guys. This is someone who'll be 80 next year. Does that look like someone who's going to be 80 next year? Probably to some people it does. But it just gives me the feeling of athleticism. Because I've got this nice rotation going. Now, get the foveal view, Jay. Look at that golf ball. Saw the golf ball, club on the ball then. Oh, they're pretty golf shots. So pretty. So pretty. And guys, this is the way to practice. If you ever get wind, practice into it. And if you can get it on you, practice into it so you can sling the ball back into it. Okay? Let's hit a couple with the big dog. And of course, Mac was unbelievable. He was unbelievable. He hated the big drivers. He liked the old Persimmon drivers. He liked the old Taylor burner drivers, the old 170cc. He had a 45-inch titanium steel shaft and a little 170cc head. Could hit it 350 yards. Club head speed 130 miles an hour. Unbelievable. And 132 degrees on the shaft here, on the downswing. I don't get that because I haven't got that wrist mobility. I haven't got max flexibility. But watch this, guys. Same thing. Just tummy. That is so much speed there. I felt the club was going to break. Now I've got to be smooth. That just generates so much speed on the backswing. Just a hard power draw into that wind. Come on, Jay. That's Bullet City right there. Whew, talk about Bullet City. Guys, there's no hands in it at all. Just a tummy pulling the pivot through. I'll hit this at the out of bounds fence and see if I can get a ball over the out of bounds fence. Into the wind, I couldn't do it. But watch this guy. I've got to show you some of this downwind or down range. You've got to see this ball play. Because you won't believe it until you see it. I know what that sounds like. But I'm just, hammer time. Just hammer time. And it's this guy. Just tummy. That had so much speed on it, pulled me off my feet. Now what I've got to do is just smooth out the backswing. I mean, it just went dead straight. Come on. Foveal vision. Okay. I'll try and take it back a fair way. Like this, guys. Feels like that. That's what it feels like. Look, hands here. That's Hogan's Cup wrist. It just, if I could just, I've got so much coil and so much torque going back that it's just making me cut the backswing off a little bit. Just let it go back further. And I'm not used to that feel in the wrist. But they're perfect shots. Okay, really, really concentrate on just moving the speed of the pivot. Now Mac was a third of that speed. He had beautiful tempo. I'll try and just smooth the tempo. No movement at all on the ball. Okay guys, so that's Mac Ogrady. Pivot speed. Have the 45 degrees here. Take it back, feel like you're cupping it. Keep that cup on the downswing and then you can fire it here. You go from cup to bowed through the ball. Cup to bowed, but the handle stays cup to bowed, but the handle stays in. The handle doesn't go out. The handle stays in and you maintain your secondary tilt. I'll see what the, just wondering what direction would give us some ball flight. I'll have a look around at the sun, guys, and I'll hit some shots and just see if I can work out what will give us some ball flight. But it's very interesting, very interesting. So it's Mac Ogrady pivot speed golf swing. Have a look. There's some stuff with him and Gary McCord. It's MORAD, M-O-R-A-D, Mac Ogrady Research and Development. That was his company. Yeah, very interesting stuff. Okay guys, I'll see what the water's like and we'll see if I can get some downrange shots. Because you've got to see this ball flight.